Medium tier and the combat achievements are one of the first things on any account that serves as a great goal. Completing the medium tier sets you up to be able to do Barrows without prayer drain, increases the rate at which you can complete pest control, along with some other great rewards like free XP. To achieve medium tier, at the time of this video, it only requires 161 points. But with that said, let's start off with the skilling bosses first. Wintertodt is the first step on our list. This fire-making skilling boss is a quick and easy stop for 13 points and 8 tasks. Wintertodt does require 50 firemaking and access to Zaya, however. There are 2 KC tasks at just 5 and 10. For most of these achievements, you can join the Wintertodt mass worlds and you'll get them without even really trying. Leaving no one behind and Can We Fix It will come in masses just as easy as the KC. For Handyman and Mummy, these 2 just require you to know about them and just doing them as you see the opportunity. Neither hard as well. Cozy is free as long as you wear 4 pieces of warm equipment. I suggest just going to the OSRS wiki and searching warm equipment, as odds are you already have access to the 4 pieces. Lastly is the harder of the 8, but it's still fairly simple. Y-Fletch requires you to earn 3,000 points before finishing off Wintertodt. This is done very simply in a solo game of Wintertodt. If you've never done a solo game, I teach you how to do so in less than 3.5 minutes in my solo Wintertodt guide, link on the screen now. We are now going to move over to Fishing Tot, which is actually just called Tempoross. Tempoross is the other skilling boss on the list with some low-hanging tasks and some rather noob trap tasks. 35 fishing is required for Tempoross. I'm going to talk about 7 of the achievements here, with 2 of them being marked as optional. As a common theme in these bosses, there are KC tasks. Tempoross has 2 just like Wintertodt, 1 at 5 and 1 at 10. We're going to focus on doing masses for the sake of this video. Calm Before the Storm just requires you to repair a master or totem pole, Master of Buckets extinguishing 5 fires during one fight, and Fire in the Hole requires you to shoot fish from both cannons on both boats. These 5 tasks are a quick 6 points in our route. For our first 2 optional tasks in this video, we have Dress Like You Mean It, which requires you to get the angler outfit from either trawler or aerial fishing, and the Lone Angler, which requires you to do a solo Tempoross without getting hit by fires, torrents, or waves. It's easy to do both of these, but also require you to learn solo or spend time getting a skilling outfit. These optional tasks are worth 5 points together, which can be done to save you tasks further down the line. And for the rest of the guide, we'll be doing actual bosses, and I'll put them in order that I personally would try to do them on a fresh account. I do highly recommend getting 43 prayer for every boss from here on out. This will only make this easier for you. We'll be starting with our favorite bovine, Brutus. Brutus is a relatively new boss to the game at the time of this video, and brought with it 4 extremely easy tasks for just about any account, and they are worth 8 points. You do need to complete the Ides of Milk quest to kill Brutus, but it is very quick. Again, we have 2 KC tasks, with the highest one being only 10 kills. Next, we're going to do Beef vs. Beef, which requires you to fistfight Brutus and dodge his attacks. You cannot equip or consume anything during this fight, but can use combat potions before and utilize Protect from Melee during the fight. Smarter Than a Cow requires a little bit more coordination, but not much. You can use magic or ranged attacks here and safe spot Brutus. Just watch out for his charges. I also have a quick Brutus video that I will put on the screen now if these challenge you. We will now proceed to talk about the next boss, Scurrius, the Usurper. Scurrius is a really great way for you to learn mechanics introduced in later bosses, as well as get some fairly easy points in these 5 tasks. Getting 10 KC will get you the 2 tasks done for the KC tasks. However, for the other 3, I suggest focusing on getting a Scurrius spine drop before attempting them. So locking for some KC, this is good for training stats as well. Once you get your Scurrius spine, the next 3 become much easier. Efficient pest control requires you to kill 6 giant rats in just 3 seconds. With a Scurrius weapon, you can click these as fast as you can when they spawn. You'll attack these rats every game tick with the new Ratbane weapon from the spine. Sit Rat just requires you to use a Ratbane weapon to kill Scurrius while in a private instance. Just right click the gate before you enter and follow the prompts. Lastly is Perfect Scurrius. With your newfound DPS from the Ratbane weapon, you just need to focus on praying correctly and dodging debris. Next on the list we have Bryophyta. Bryophyta has 6 combat tasks we're going to look at, with the optional 7th. Bryophyta's KC task works a little different since it requires you to loot the chest, which requires a mossy key. Because of this and how unlucky you can get on the way to 5 keys, I'm only recommending the 1 loot chest. If you need something to AFK for an optional task, you can solely farm out Moss Giants for 4 Mossy Keys. This only gets you 2 points however. After you've gotten your first Mossy Key and unlocked the boss, you can now fight Bryophyta on repeat for her tasks, just not the 5 chest one without the keys. Preparation is Key is a free task with an anti-poison. Fighting as Intended 2 requires you to just kill Bryophyta on a free-to-play world. A slow death requires you to kill Bryophyta with poison or venom as the last hit splat. You may need some RNG on that one. Protection from moss just requires you to pray protect from mage the entire time. And lastly, quick cutter wants you to kill all 3 of the growthlings in 3 seconds of the first one dying. Just make sure they're all around your tile and then proceed to use an axe or secateur on them quickly. If you've been following exactly by this point, congratulations, you have now completed the easy tier insanely quickly. Let's move on to Bryophyta's counterpart. Obor functions in a very similar way to Bryophyta, and since this is the case, we're also going to skip out on the loot 5 chests, unless you just want to have some low intensity grind of killing hill giants for 5 keys. Looting Obor's chest once completes a task, and we'll need at least 1 key to be able to fight Obor. Fighting as intended just requires you to kill Obor on a free-to-play world, sleeping giant while he is immobilized, just snare him right before he is about to die, and only hit him while he is immobilized. Back to the wall tells you exactly what to do for this one, just stand in a corner of the area and kill him. And lastly, squashing the giant requires you to kill him without taking any damage off prayer. This one is probably the hardest if you're still learning pathing, but if you just run around the arena and constantly snare Obor, you are sure to get this in no time. This next suggestion is probably going to have some noses turned up at me in this guide, but just hang in there with me. It's some of the freest points, as long as you can get past where it's located. The Crazy Archaeologist is so easy that the hardest part of this is getting past the fact that it is located in the wilderness. Just don't bring anything important, don't bring a ton of runes, and you won't have to worry about risking anything. These tasks here we're looking at are 2 KC tasks, with the highest one being 25 kills. Kill the Crazy Archaeologist with only magical attacks, which is how I'd recommend killing him anyhow. And finally, make sure to dodge every Rain of Knowledge special attack. When you see him say Rain of Knowledge, just move roughly 6 tiles away in any given direction from where you were. This is probably some of the easiest points on this guide. Don't worry, Big Scary PKer won't come after noob in robes killing Crazy Archaeologist, and if they do, just point and laugh and know they are lower on the totem pole than those Chaos Altar PKers. Now that we've gotten our wildy task done out of the way, let's go visit the place that the PKers are born. Deep below the Falador Garden is where our next task lie. Giant Mole is a fairly simple fight, but can be annoying to chase down. So we're only going to be here for 3 tasks. If you have higher damage, it is possible to get other tasks accidentally, but we're only going to try for these 3 out of 6 for this guide. There are 2 KC tasks, with the highest being 25, and not taking any damage from the Giant Mole, which you just protect from melee while fighting, and it's free. There's nothing really else to Giant Mole. The 25 kill count is going to feel slightly like a slog, but it is easy. Feel free to skip the 25 or even the 10 kill count and replacing it with task from the optional section at the end of this video. And while we're speaking of gardens, let's make our way to the farming guild in Zaya. You've been doing your farming runs this whole time, right? For Hespori, I'm mentioning it here because I want you to go ahead and start incorporating your farm runs to get 65 farming for access to the fight and get Hespori seeds. This is a good one to do while you're doing other bosses. There are only 3 tasks we're going to look at for Hespori anyways. Weed Whacker just requires you to kill all the flowers within 5 seconds. If you bring darts to this, they one-shot the flowers. Just spam click the flowers and run around. As soon as you see the XP drop from one, click the next. Hespori Isn't requires you to kill Hespori with a special attack. Just get Hespori low and spam your Dragon Dagger specs. Pretty simple. Lastly is the KC task, killing Hespori 5 times, which is really easy, but you are time gated by planting the seeds and having to wait, which is why I suggest starting this sooner while still working on the other task. Ultimately, the KC is only 3 points and can be replaced by another task if you'd like, but the other 2 are so free you can do in 1 KC. So Dagannoth Rex was a weird one to place. We're really only looking at 3 tasks here because they are really easy if you use the safe spot method. There are hundreds of Rex safe spot guides out there, I'll leave you to find your own, but we're only chasing the KC task, which are both done by 25 KC, and a 3rd task, which is killing Rex while he's immobilized. All this requires you to bring is ice spells on ancients or snare on standard. Just make sure you get the snare off before you kill him and then get the last hit. The hardest part about Rex is getting in the lair and getting the safe spot set up without attracting the other kings, but free tasks after that. If you have a high level friend, I'd suggest having them go in and clearing out the layers so you can easily get in the safe spot if this is hard for you. And you know, I can't talk about one archaeologist without talking about the other one, so let's get the Fossil Island quest done now. The Deranged Archaeologist is even easier than the last archaeologist because he's not in the wilderness. Again, we're just going to get 2 KC tasks here, stopping at 25 KC. Mage of the Swamp, which requires us to kill him with only magic. And lastly, I'd rather be illiterate, which requires us to dodge his Learn to Read special attack. This is very similar to the Rain of Knowledge attack from the Crazy Archaeologist. Just dodge it by running when you see the text above his head. Another really free and easy 7 points here. Next, we're going to go to Varlamore and get some low-hanging tasks there, so go complete Children of the Sun and let's get started. The first boss in Varlamore we're going to look at is Amoxliatl. There will be 6 tasks that I recommend here and 1 optional. Amoxliatl does require completion of the Heart of Darkness quest. I also suggest for any Iron Man accounts that are following this from the start to really make sure you get the Glacial Tumultly and its achievement. They'll be handy for other bosses in this guide. Obviously, we have 2 KC tasks, with 20 being the most. We have Totally Shattered, which requires you to make sure none of the unstable ice shatter. Chemo Makti requires you to kill her 10 times without leaving her chamber. May sound like a lot for a newer player, but once you get into the flow, only thing you go through is prayer, and you can learn to bring more prayer pots over food. Nagua Negotiation is pretty much to do the fight perfect, which I bet you get in your way to Chemo Makti for the 10 kills in one trip anyways. Tumultly Triumph requires you to kill Amoxliatl with only the Tumultly, which is just dependent on having the item. And then lastly, the optional task is without Ralos Light, which you need to kill a Mox without losing any prayer points, so either bring lots of food or pray flick. This is optional due to some with hardcore status may not wanting to risk it. After Amoxliatl, the Hueycoatl has a total of 11 tasks that can reward you with 41 points. However, the ones I'm leaving out of this guide are the small team speed times, as there may be a bit of carrying that needs to be done for those tasks. They'd require you finding people to carry you through, which is actually pretty easy, but I know it's too early in this guide to ask you to make some friends. I'll save that bit for Royal Titans later in this video. So instead, we're going to do 7 recommended tasks with 2 optional. Huey actually has 3 KC tasks, with only 25 KC getting all 3 done. I recommend doing all of these tasks in a mass, as they are virtually free on Varlamore worlds. You're a Wizard requires you to kill Huey only using Earth spells, fairly simple and easy. Perfect Huey requires you to take no damage from avoidable damage sources 5 times without leaving. This can be harder in small teams, but pretty easy in mass. If you struggle with this, I'll put my Huey guide up that teaches you how to do perfect kills along with other information on Huey. You can utilize this to get 5 perfect kills in mass fairly easy. Hueycoatl Speed Trialist requires you to kill Huey in 2.5 minutes, which again, in a mass, you'll get this before you even hit 25 kill count. The last recommended task is Pillar Lover. This requires you to kill Huey with the pillars active. This is actually easier in a trio, however. If you have social anxiety and are too afraid to ask other pixels on the screen for help right now, you can skip this one and replace it with a different optional task, but remember, I'm going to make you be social for Royal Titans. And then lastly, we have the 2 optional tasks. I'm Your Son and Is It a Bird? These require you to either have 2 pieces of Hueycoatl armor or a Dragonbane weapon respectively. If you are a main account and can just buy these are beyond free. If you're an Iron, I just see if you spoon something while you do the other task and skip them if not. Alright, let's take a break from Varlamore and head back to Zeah. Sarachnis is a fairly easy fight and doesn't really require much but a decent crush weapon, hence the Glacial Tumultly from Amoxliatl. There are 2 KC tasks, with 25 being the highest of the 2, and also a task to kill Sarachnis with a crush weapon. These 3 are free. Inspect Repellent requires you to pray correctly and not take any damage from Sarachnis, which is just melee when you're in melee range and protect from missiles if she isn't in melee range. There is also Ready to Pounce, which is not allowing Sarachnis to use her ranged attack twice in a row. If you are paying attention and going for KC or Inspect Repellent, there is a good chance you get this task as well. It just requires you to be alert when she webs you and make sure you're running to her as fast as possible. Fairly easy 11 points here. It's 2026. Are we really still complaining about doing some sailing in Slayer? Anyways, the Shellbane Gryphon is another super simple and easy boss that can get us some points fairly easy with low end gear. We will need to complete the quest Troubled Tortugans and have a Gryphon Slayer task. That is honestly the hardest part of this section. Obviously there are 2 KC tasks, with 50 being the highest of the 2. We have Dry Cleaning, which requires you to clear corrosive spit from your armor. Just let the yellow blob hit you, make sure you have your inventory open, take all of your gear off, and then put it back on. Task is done. Perfect Shellbane is just that. Don't take any damage. Mechanics are fairly easy, so I bet you get this on the way to 50 KC without even trying. Featherweight Fighter requires you to kill Shellbane 5 times in one trip, but with gear weighing less than 40 kilograms. Just check your equipment tab in game and make sure you are under 40. Still bring the Tortugan shield for your back slot though. Bring more food than you normally do for this trip. For our one optional task, we have Shellbane Survivor, which requires you to get 25 kills without leaving the cave. This is actually fairly simple if you've gotten a bit of KC under your belt, but figured it might cause some frustration for some people. Alright, so remember when I said I was going to make you be social and make friends? Welcome to Royal Titans. Especially if that friend is a GM to GM's max cape Chad that one-shots the Titans with their scythe. Jokes aside, having someone to duo with is going to be highly advised here. If you get a Giga Chad to carry you, you can do more of the optional tasks here to finish out the 161 needed for a medium tier. In normal fashion, we have 2 KC tasks with 25 being the highest. I Need Room requires you and your partner to clear all the fires and icicles in the arena before they go away naturally. This just requires focusing on it and is very easy. Perfect Royal Titans is actually really easy. Just protect from melee, focus on killing the elementals every time you see them spawn, and make sure to get to the safe spot with plenty of time left in the last phase. 1 by 1 is another easy task. Just requires you killing one Titan at a time without attacking the other one. Just have to purposely go for this task. Let Them Fight requires the Royal Titans to kill 10 elementals. If you take the last phase slowly and get the ice guys closer to the fire side and fire guys closer to the ice side, their wave attacks will kill the elementals. Sometimes this task can happen naturally, but it's easier to just know ahead of time that you're going for it. It Takes Too Long is kind of an RNG task in the sense of missing or just overkilling before they do a charge. Ideally, you want to get them both low as possible and not kill them until they are doing their slam attack. You gotta kill them both with range during the same slam attack phase. Elemental Company is just the opposite of the perfect task. Just ignore them and it is free. There are 3 optional tasks here worth 10 points, but it is much easier if you have someone with pretty good gear to duo with. Titan Killer requires you to kill the Titans 15 times without leaving the room. Speedrunner task is finishing killing in less than 1.5 minutes, which again, you want someone who can fly through these kills. And lastly, no time to pray, so kill them without losing prayer points. You can either learn to prayer flick the slam attacks or kill it fast enough that food doesn't become an issue. So if you haven't hit 161 already, we're going to go ahead and do some of the other tasks. These are one-offs. I try to grab the ones that didn't require Slayer levels baseline, such as kill a black dragon, kill a fire giant, kill a greater demon with the demon bane weapon, kill a hellhound, kill a hill giant, moss giant, and fire giant in the giant cave in Shazian. These 6 should push you over the edge of 161, and congratulations on medium tier for your combat achievements. I now want to go over some of the other great optional tasks that I figure might scare off some people, but are actually extremely easy and can be used to supplement other tasks you may have difficulties with. So, as counterintuitive as it may sound, Barrows actually has some extremely low-hanging fruit of tasks. A lot of these can be done without much and done in just a few runs. I'm going to list them on the screen, but I'm not going to go in depth like I have with the other tasks. But in a nutshell, if you learn the crypt safe spots, these tasks become very easy. People might scream at me if I suggested Chambers of Xeric in the main section of this video, but some Chambers tasks are easier than Royal Titans. There are videos out there for literally every single one of these achievements on YouTube, and you could get 21 points here without much effort at all, probably even within an hour. Crab one may be the hardest, but Ice Demon and Stone Guardian are free points, especially if you have a friend who can carry you through chamber tasks. Jad hands tremble at the mention of doing the fight caves. However, I'd wager most people watching this could actually get a fire cape quick and easy, and some of the other tasks as well. If you just don't let the meleeers heal, get hit by a bat, and get your cape, this could be a smooth 14 points. And lastly, depending on your Slayer level, if you have the ability to kill literally any of these monsters on the screen, they can also quickly rack up some points. I just don't mention these in the video due to the fact that I can't take into fact every account's Slayer level, so I will leave this section for you to decide. And that is it. Congratulations on medium tier. Go talk to Gomal, get your hill, and get to farming Barrows. Again, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for future videos and updates on my CA plugin that should be releasing in the near future, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.